So, James, a colleague of mine at Mattress Online was talking to me recently about having a side of the bed. And they like to have the side of the bed on the outside because the other side is next to a wall. And vice versa. And they'd had to have a compassionate conversation about who was going to be on that side. And I think it was to do with nipping to the loo in the night.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
I wouldn't want to break their confidence about that. However, is that a thing? People always having their own side, or do some people swap?
Is that a thing? I think it ruins relationships. If you're on the wrong side, it can cause real problems. So yeah, I would definitely say it's something that I get asked a lot about, and I think it is quite important. I know I'm like a broken record, emotional and physical security. So do you feel secure where you're sleeping in the bed? So some people like to near the door, like say easy to get to the toilet. If someone decides like it might be, if you've got kids come in room, you position yourself away from the door, so you're not having to deal with this child who suddenly appeared. So sometimes it can be tactical. Yeah. I would say there's some tactics around it. Some people will want to be near the door in case burglars come in, they can get them. Some people want to be away from the door in case burglars come in, get away from them. So I think it's some of this comes from childhood. I do think so. I'd say some people want to be able to see the door again because they can kind of like.
I like to be able to see the door.
I think you feel aware of the whole environment. Yeah. Where if you can't see the door, well, you don't know what might be coming. Definitely, I would say this comes from childhood. With our kids, we often have these conversations around. I want to be able to see the door. I don't want to be able to see gaps in the curtain. It's all that sort of that fear that sometimes we associate with nighttime, which is understandable because when we have predators, we're both vulnerable during the night. So all this stuff makes sense. We want to feel safe because we don't want to get eaten by a saber-tooth tiger. So I think that, but it can be quite a difficult negotiation. I don't know if your colleague went through these negotiations, but they can be quite difficult because if you both want to be on the left, well, how do you solve that problem?
Well, in my house, I sleep on the left because I want to be on the left.
So we may be establishing who the sleep dictator is in your house, maybe potentially,
yeah.
But it can be quite difficult. I think it can be that emotional security, what you've always done, what you know. It can be a sense of physical security because the room can change, can't it, where the door is and things like that. So you might be a left sleeper sometimes, but in another environment you might want to be a right sleeper. And there are those people who I've never come across them. I've heard about them. They're like a fluffalump in Winnie the Pooh. I've never seen it. I'm aware of them. Those people who every night they just change sides randomly, and there's no like set side. And I've never.
Well, they start off on one side and end up on another.
No, tonight
they just choose a side. Like, oh, tonight I feel like the left, or tonight I feel like the right.
That's it. They choose a side, so they'll just swap whoever gets to bed first. So it can become a race.
Yeah, that wouldn't sit well with me.
So I think there's lots and lots of different ways that this could be done. But like everything, I think, like you say, compassionate conversations, and trying to establish for yourself what you would like, and having that compassionate conversation. I think if you have got kids, if currently you haven't got children, you might be making a decision that you might live to regret later on when you end up on the side closest to the door, and you're the go-to person for nighttime wanderings.
Yeah, that's an extra tip there.
That's an extra tip.
Anyone watching, isn't it?
Plan on having children, think about what side of the bed you're on. People haven't thought about this, have they?
No.
They don't put this in the guidebooks to children.
No, they will now.
They will now.
Yeah.